I just stepped away from gaming topic for a few days. And already there is news about gaming companies sinking into the abyss, as well as gamer community having a little bit of explosion. Hello there, how's it? Ame Gakita there. So obviously today random chat is actually more so random chat. But in a way, let's just say that these two topics is basically there is news more about game company on a little bit of flop side or sinking side, or even dismantle side, as well as a bit of implosion within the gamers community. Apparently, both are in both situations. Now, obviously, the three topic to be as said, even though it's kind of like two in a way, because the thing is, right, for the game company sinking, it's basically back to DragonAge, which is kind of like showing how again they are flopping. And interestingly, even Ubisoft have a hand in it by having talked about them being so-called being on the top of being sold. Now, the last topic is technically something that is called some kind of like implosion, where some people are against two sexy character and there are some people who is with the sexy character. So there is a little bit of implosion side, which I will also talk about that. But kind of like in a nutshell, for every single news, I'm not going to give too much there. I will just give my take in one shot, okay? So, for the first, in a nutshell news, Bioware apparently have shown how bad of a failure the company is, and more so that, as Rev said, the work culture is destroying the company. Well, it's really kind of like so obvious that they are not having a lot of sales, and at the same time, even if they do have quite the sales, they are not having a lot of people playing the game. More so that even when initially that JT-san talked about, initially there was news about 3 million copies, so turned out that it was just basically initially that they have hoping that there was a lifetime of games sold within that period with a higher amount, 10 million hopefully being sold. Now, obviously it does not hit that target, and I initially, when I saw the news when he reported about the 3 million, I don't even believe it. Even if they say that it's a whistleblower, even if it was ever, sometimes whistleblower can give false information, whether we all like it or not, and that it always time that you need to look into deeper source, look from multiple sources, or even different witnesses to understand the thing. Because like I mentioned, one of the metaphors I love to talk about is using a die. When a die gives you a different number, different people from looking at different sides always tend to look at different numbers. So the thing is, right, obviously apparently the sales number got less than 1.5 million. So does that mean that that is actually true? Well, the thing is, right, I still don't believe there is a million copies sold unless they give out the number. If the company decided to go with the idea that, hey, we are not going to show the number, yeah, it is not probably true at all. Because if they are trying to hide the number, it means that the company is flopping. And I won't even be surprised that the company is going to flop even further, because if they are now on the talk about being laid off of many of the employees, or even if that is not true, if the rumor about layoff is happening within the office itself, definitely do tell a lot. And I can't really like stress the number of times when I say that, even when I say that yes, the company do need to be called out, but a lot of people need to understand, as I always predicted, the first to go is always not the CEO or the higher up, it's the employees. And obviously a lot of the employees are afraid of being laid off, reason being that they are on the lower part of the food chain. So often more than not, you don't get the top one up, it's the lower part of first, until when the pyramid go outwards, that to the final one, that do the company actually declare bankruptcy or collapse. Now, the issue on that end is that, like I always mention, is that it is not uncommon for layoff. But again, like I mentioned, if the company is starting to lay off more staff because they are not earning enough money, it does seem to showcase that yes, they are not in the clear yet. It means that they are trying to corporate losses, and the first way to go is obviously the employees, the layoff. And thus this is kind of like obvious that even if they claim it's 3 million, it should not be happen happening, and obviously when that happened, obviously a lot of the employees are now making noise about they are afraid. They are afraid of being laid off. You have to understand one thing. Just because I don't like the company doesn't mean that the employees should be targeted, alright? So like I mentioned, as I'm always say, sometimes the employee have to make a noise to like tell the higher up that what make the game is not just the game company. They are just the starting point. It's the gamers. And I hope that a lot of game companies understand this point. Just because some sort of like random consultant give the idea or whatsoever of say that you must add DI whatsoever BS in the game or ideology or politics in the game, doesn't mean it resonates with the gamers. That should be the last straw. And the funny thing is, right, it's kind of like didn't kind of like got through to Ubisoft at this point of time, considering that there is apparent news about the companies being sold off to some sort of Chinese company. And Tencent is a well-known company in Hong Kong, if I'm not wrong, and that they are well known for video game. So if Ubisoft do end up being sold to a Chinese game company, does that mean that the game is Ubisoft, a lot of the game like Assassin's Creed is going to be good? Hardly. Because the thing is, right, a lot of people need to understand that is another saying that a lot of Eastern game wasn't that good as what based on what many people view. It's just that a lot of Western games have fallen so damn badly that it made a lot of Eastern game good. And obviously, game companies know that what gamers want, and as time passes by, they know what they are looking for. They know what the actual gamers want, and obviously they sell. But the thing is, right, just because of that, and that is the reason why it led to a little bit of fighting within the gamers community, which kind of like I have to talk about the game, the so-called the GoonerGate, or basically in what people would say, people who are into sexualized character. Now the issue on that end is that I always give the thing that if people are into this kind of thing, by all means go ahead, it's on them. I'm not the kind of person to go and tell everyone that if I hate the game, everyone should follow suit. If I hate the game and other people love the game, by all means go ahead, support it all you want. I never really tell people say that I hate DragonAge, you should hate DragonAge, you should not support DragonAge. I call the game out. But if people want to buy the game, by all means go ahead. It's the same thing as like when they showcase like character that is like, so what people will be saying like, yeah, a little bit too sexualized, where they showcase the girl's butt or the girl's chest. And of all people that they have to talk about, although GT-san understand that most people are religious or whatsoever, and I kind of like understand Dread Robert's view. I'm not saying that he's wrong, because in a way we know that sometimes when the character get too sexualized, it can lead to bad drawing or things that get into people into the game itself that kind of like bring a little bit toxic, or even give the misinterpretation that the game is sexualized. Now, while that is true to some extent, we can't really go around saying that a lot of gamers play game not because of those sexy character or hot men. A lot of times, a lot of games do became franchise or popular because of that exact reason. One side example that became well-known franchise was Dead or Alive, where a lot of people play the game because while they are hot men, a lot of people also play for the sexy lady, and a lot of people like those characters not just because they end up like having a moment of you beat the girl or the girl beat you along the line, but actually most of the characters themselves are very popular, where there is a lot of people cosplay at them. And even if I had to give a reason choice, even the Guardian of Victory Nikke itself got a lot of people liking on the game because of the character. While it's true that there are people who draw doujin or sexualized or R18 artwork of those game characters, it doesn't mean that it doesn't bring eyes to the product. And even if they do kind of like showcase a game with a skin that easily showcase the skin of a character, it doesn't mean that people who hate it must buy the skin. you can choose not to buy the skin at all, and you can still play the game and enjoy. It's just that if it sell. If the company know that this kind of skin is gonna make them money, if they know that this kind of game bring them money, if this kind of thing make more people spend more money, then in a way for the game company you shouldn't say it's wrong, because it bring in more money. And the only issue we have to hope for is that will the company make use of that money to create a better game. And for Guardian of Victory, it was such a hit that Shift was able to give out the next game called Stellar Blade, which was one of the hit within many gamers. The only issue is how will those companies make use of this moment to bring in better game. And if we don't like think of ways, like if in a game company, if they don't think of ways to so-called bring in money, then obviously they are not doing the right thing. So if a sexualize of a character bring in eyes, bring in more players, bring in more people to pay for the game, then in a way you can't blame them. You can't blame the company for doing so, even if you hate it. So at the end of the day, right, it's really kind of like I can see why they also talk about it, because the thing is, right, if the character is too sexualized, then obviously it's not good, because again we have to understand there will be some people going the idea that maybe the game is about sexualized, or maybe it's just CP or whatever, like porn along the line. So is it wrong? It's kind of like debatable, depending whether you like it or not. Just because it's not your cup of tea doesn't mean you must go and tell everyone that it's not your cup of tea, you know. You can just, like, even for me, a lot of people tell me, like, why would I not stop anyone from, or influence anyone? Is that if I don't like it, I don't like it. Doesn't mean that everyone must like or dislike the same thing as me. If I say that if they like it, they go ahead, they can play the game. I don't like playing FPS game. I quit mobile game for personal reason, for personal health reason, because I don't want to suffer another heart attack playing those kind of fast-paced game. And in a way, does that mean that I must tell everyone to stop playing it because it's bad for their heart? No. If people like that kind of game, by all means, go ahead. I'm not stopping them. It should always be a moment that we should not tell people to don't do this kind of thing. I mean, like, in a way, where do we draw the line? Yes, I can see that point. The only issue is that once we start telling people to stop doing it, that is when we are no different from the other side, where we are trying to add in our ideology to gamers' mindset. And that is where a lot of things go south. But at the end of the day, whether do the company deserve for or even like gamers to have some sort of like infighting within themselves, is still kind of like depend on how you look at it. Over this kind of GoonerGate, I think it's just basically if people like this kind of sexualized character, by all means they should like it. No one should stop it. As for game company, I think that I kind of like say that again. If they really want to stay strong, look at games that is not about sexualized. Nikke itself, people may play the game for the sexualize of the character, doesn't mean that it doesn't have good music, it doesn't mean that it have good story plot, it doesn't mean that each character is not relatable. So it's kind of like you have to understand the marketing of what gamers want, understand what is the people really want, and then target from them. The moment you add in ideology or whatsoever BS and force it down people throat, people are going to turn on you and people are not going to buy the game. So I hope that this is really one of the moments where I don't really want to talk about this kind of topic ever again. I mean, like, seeing game company fail is really like, again, you have to understand, when a game company fall, it's not just the game company fall, it's the employee that I'm kind of worried about. As for in-game fighting, I really kind of, about gamers fighting, right, I do hope on one end, if players want if players like what they like, let them be. It shouldn't be a moment where someone step in and say that you should not like it. But again, at the end of the day, it is still my speculative thought. It's just a random chat. Whether you have your own view, your own take, your own whatsoever, write in the comment section below. We can discuss it further. Yeah, I kind of like drag on that, but because the thing is, right, every time when I do this kind of fighting, it's kind of like a lonely fight because I don't stand on any side. But again, at the end of the day, who knows? But whether you like it or not, if you do like this video, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe for more random chat where I talk about stuff that sometimes makes sense, doesn't make sense, or totally random time. But I try to stay neutral at most of the time. But at the end of the day, I hope that you guys have a nice day or night. Bye!